his dad gave him $1 million. My dad didn't. And it's like, yeah, but your dad gave you a lot of other stuff that you also didn't use, right? Your dad helped you in this way. But yeah, you don't even think of that. Hello. Welcome to Healthy Systems Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Mo, and today's episode is about something slightly different than health and fitness, but it's still a healthy system. So today's episode is about the lessons I learned by hanging out with the ninth richest man in the world last weekend at Berkshire Hathaway's annual investor meeting. So this past weekend, the reason I didn't release an episode was because I flew to Omaha, Nebraska for the Berkshire Hathaway's annual investor meeting to study billionaires, to study operators, investors, and long-term thinkers. And honestly, the big realization I had was this, that the same principles that built these massive companies that you and I all know, Berkshire Hathaway, Geico, just you name it, right? These lessons can also be applied to build a healthy body, healthy life, successful careers, strong marriages, and live a very meaningful life. So if you're a busy professional trying to stay healthy, build your career, make more money, raise a family, and not burn out in the process, these lessons are going to directly apply to you. And that's what this episode is all about. So on my Instagram, you guys probably saw I shared 10 lessons that I learned from last weekend. But in this episode, I want to go deep into 5 lessons, my top 5 takeaways from last weekend that are genuinely healthy systems that you can apply into your life. You see, over the last 2.5 years, I've been posting the episode of this podcast every single week. And one of the things I notice is there's certain periods where I go too deep into health and fitness, where I'm talking about weight loss, I'm talking about macronutrients and supplements, and I'm talking about training. But remember, the name Healthy Systems is more than just health. Healthy systems are healthy routines. Healthy systems come down to what kind of life do I want to live that will lead to more fulfillment, right? So when it comes to faith, family, fitness, fun, and faith, family, fitness, fun. I'm forgetting the last F, but you guys can put it in the comments. But essentially, those are all healthy systems, right? Those are all ways to live. Because at the end of the day, it's my genuine belief, after being in shape for about a decade, due to the blessing from God, it's my genuine belief that if you have six-pack abs, or if you just, whatever your fitness goal is, if you're running marathons, and if you're the healthiest person you can be, but your finances are out of order, your family is out of order, your faith is out of order, and you're not having fun, you will genuinely not feel fulfilled. And that, I've felt that way over time, where when I was younger, I would spend too much time in the gym, and while I was struggling in other areas. And I came to the conclusion that I need to have a balance across these 5 areas of my life. Otherwise, there's no amount of being able to bench press 2 plates, or being able to squat 3 plates and deadlift 4 plates, or being able to run 10 miles is going to give me that fulfillment. Because as a person, as a good human being, I want my family to be taken care of. I want my spiritual health, my faith to be taken care of. I want my life to be complete in all ways. Not just, oh, Mo has six-pack abs, or Susie has six-pack abs, or Susie is so lean and amazing and fit, but other areas of her life are in shambles. I do not want that for me, and I don't think any of you want that either. So that's why this episode, I'm going to talk about finances. I'm going to talk about the lessons I learned from the world's best finance people, right? Number 1, so I said 5 takeaways. That's what I'm going to dive into. Today's episode will be quicker. So overall, just, if you're driving right now, just take good notes, mental notes. And if you're not driving, write these down, because these will help you. So here are my top 5 takeaways from Berkshire's weekend last week, when I was hanging out with people like Warren Buffett, Tim Cook, who's the Apple CEO. There was Geico's CEO was there, right? Some of the biggest CEOs that you and I both know. So lesson number 1 was, it's better to buy wonderful businesses at fair price than it is to buy a fair business at a wonderful price. Meaning, far too often, what people do is they look for the cheapest options, right? So whether they're buying a business, so they're hiring a fitness coach, or they're buying something, they're getting a gym membership, they're looking for the cheapest options, which oftentimes hurts you, right? Because those things also have costs associated with them, right? So honestly, the best thing to do is to buy a wonderful business, right? Charlie Munger used to say that. It's better to buy the wonderful thing, hire the wonderful coach at a fair price, than it is to buy a like a fair coach at a wonderful price, meaning like it's better to just shoot for the moon, get the best thing you can, because that best thing will have way more value to you as opposed to going for the cheaper option. In fitness, I see this a lot. Most people chase crash diets, detoxes, AI built workouts that they don't even stick to. Instead of hiring somebody they respect and somebody that has real knowledge of that industry or that domain, they just go for the cheapest option. Cheapest options are not the best. So the world's richest know that, right? Because cheap options often have other costs associated with them, which costs you more than the other way around. Because these people, right? If you look at Warren Buffett, he wasn't born rich, right? He wasn't born a billionaire. He didn't even hit his, I think, first billion until he was 50 years old, right? So these people, you can either find, like, I know some people like have such a victim mentality. They're always trying to find like, oh yeah, his dad gave him the money. And it's like, yeah, your dad probably gave you something too. And look what you did. Nothing. Right? So at the end of the day, it's better to learn from people that are far ahead of you, as opposed to being like passing judgment on them, but being like, yeah, his dad gave him $1 million. My dad didn't. And it's like, yeah, but your dad gave you a lot of other stuff that you also didn't use. Right? Your dad helped you in this way. But yeah, you don't even think of that. Because you're like, yeah, you're just blaming blame, as opposed to being like, what can I learn from here? So at the end of the day, don't buy the cheap options. Buy wonderful option and then try to negotiate if you can, or try to find it at a fair price. So that's part one. Quality matters and quality compounds. So if you hire a quality coach, if you hire, quality help, you buy a quality car, for example, you build a quality business, that's going to be tough at first, but it's going to compound. It's going to get better and better for you. That's lesson one. Lesson number two is play long-term games with long-term people, right? So Warren Buffett, for example, has ran Berkshire Hathaway for 60 years. And Charlie Munger, his business partner, was besides him for 45 of those years until he passed away in 2023. That level of consistency is so rare today. Most people, they quit too early. They constantly restart. They chase shortcuts. They jump from plan to plan to plan to plan, right? You see this in fitness. You see this in finances. You see this in faith and family and all kinds of stuff. Most people can't even stick to a relationship for 6 months. They're like, yeah, I got boring. I outgrew the other person. And it's like, fuck, man. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you keep doing that, that means there's no compounding, right? As soon as like a relationship gets stable, you end up running away because you're like, I'm bored. I need more stimulation. And then you get back into the dating world, which is even rougher. So at the end of the day, play long-term games with long-term people, right? Your habits are going to compound. Your health is going to compound. Your relationships are going to compound. Your career compounds, right? So that 45-minute workout, the daily walk, the meal prep, the sleep, all of these things compound. Same thing with your finances, right? If you keep spending more than you're earning, you're going to run out of money and you're going to go bankrupt and you're going to, like, it's not a good place to be at. You're going to be in debt. Versus if you make more than you're spending and you watch your spending and you're like careful with it and you invest in things that matter to you, right? Like I invest in coaching. I invest in going to conferences. I invest in my knowledge. I invest in my skill sets. I invest in my business, right? I invest in my people because that is far more valuable to me than going and buying a McLaren or a Lambo or another Rolex. I don't need those things. Those things do not compound my life. But you know what does compound my life is getting around people that are smarter than me, hiring help from people that are ahead of me, right? Getting coaching from people that are fitter than me, being around people that are richer than me, getting around people that have had their marriages longer than mine, right? Learning from those people is way better for my life and the quality of my life and the decisions I make than buying another material good. There's so many people that buy Louis Vuitton bags and they would never hire a personal trainer. And it's like that Louis Vuitton bag is not going to make you look 10 times better. But you know what does? Getting healthier and getting fitter. They're like, yeah, I can figure it out on my own. I'm like, yeah, have you? It's been 10 years. You haven't, right? You've been the same weight. The amount of time I talk to people that are like literally at 230 pounds and it's been 5 years. And they're like, yeah, I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. I'm like, if you knew what to do step by step and you were actually like, you knew exactly what to do, you would be doing it right now, but you're not because you don't have a plan. How are you going to warm up? How are you going to cool down? What exercise are you doing? What is set number one? What are you even doing? I started asking them specific questions and they realized, oh man, I didn't know any of that. I thought just going to a Zumba class on a random Thursday will fix it all. But we all know that never does anything, right? So at the end of the day, play long-term games with long-term people and know what areas of life are actually going to get you ahead as opposed to just waste money. Part 3, be patient, but then move fast, right? So if you look at Berkshire Hathaway as a company, they're sitting on roughly $400 billion worth of cash. And this is a habit they've had in their personal life too. So Warren Buffett always underspent his income. So when this man was making millions and millions of dollars, right, and 1 billions of dollars, he was still living a very modest, normal life in Omaha, Nebraska. He bought his house in 1969 and still lives there, even though his net worth is in the billions and he could buy any house in the world. He's not doing it. It's just not part of who he is, right? So when they are big fans of is like, obviously, investing in things that matter to you, but at the same time, spending less than you make. It's like you don't even need financial advisors. I'm giving you the free tips right now. Literally just underspend what you're making, right? And then have plenty of buffer so then you can go invest in things that actually grow your skill set, right? So I've always underspent what I make, but then I also go and invest in my skill set. So I always try to get better. So when I started my business, for example, I was an engineer fresh out of college. I didn't know a single thing about sales, marketing, hiring, firing, building customer service, like none of that. I had no idea. So I went and paid for a coach who started teaching me the foundations of business. What does it take? And over time, I was able to build a very successful business that has transformed the lives of thousands and thousands of clients over the years, right? And then built a team, have employees, all of that. That stuff required me to learn and be around people that are doing it, right? So at the end of the day, this applies to every professional out there, every ambitious person listening. Most people, what they do is they wait till they burn out. They wait till they gain the 40 pounds. They wait till their blood work actually shows up and it gets bad. That's when they actually take action. What you actually want to be doing is reflecting on your life day by day, week by week, being like, okay, how am I doing with finances? How am I doing with my fitness? How am I doing with my family, my faith, my fun, right? You don't want to get to a point in your marriage when like shit's hit the fan and it's really bad and then you go hire a marriage counselor, right? You want to be fixing that long before that, right? Same thing with your fitness. Most people wait till the doctor tells them, hey, you have high cholesterol and type 2 diabetes. And then they message me. They're like, hey, coach, yeah, let's just try to lose a few pounds, right? And it's like too late. Obviously, we can still do it and we will help you as best as we can. But 3 years ago, this would have been a lot easier, right? But most of the time, most people don't do anything. So what I want you to do is underspend your income, but then be willing to move fast. Go invest in things that make you better. Because if you, let's play the both equations. So you can either make more or you can spend less, right? But the thing is, you can only spend so little, right? After a certain point, you're not going to be able to spend less. Right. So then it's like, okay, but you can always make more. You can always get better. You can always get more qualified. You can always gain more skills that make you get paid more and more and more and more. Right. So that's the biggest thing. You can always increase your income by gaining more skills, learning from better people, hiring coaches, hiring people that can actually help you get better, making your body healthier. You can always be willing to pay to get better. That's why I go to conferences. That's why I read a lot of books. That's why I invest in my education all the time, right? Not because I'm like this weirdo that likes doing it, because it helps me increase my income. Because if you can increase your income, the more skill sets you gain, then you don't have to worry as much about cutting out the coffee at Starbucks. You're good. You can keep drinking it. You're good. Just because the delta between how much you make and how much you spend is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's the game that Warren Buffett has mastered over the years, right? His whole life, Charlie Munger's whole life was about that. Is like, keep getting better, keep making more money, keep getting more skilled in business, in your career, in your profession. But what I see most people do is they get a promotion at work. So let's say they were making 100K or 200K and they got a promotion that makes them 250K. So they go from 200K a year to 250K a year. All of a sudden, they're upgrading their Toyota to a BMW. All of a sudden, they're upgrading their house. It's like, okay, you keep upgrading your lifestyle as your income increases, and eventually things start to match. And now you're trapped because now you make $10, you spend 10, 10, 10. And every year, that's it, right? And let's say you get laid off from your job or your business takes a hit. Now what? You're going to go under very, very, very fast because you're literally breaking even every single month. What I want you to get to is a point where you have plenty of delta. So then even if you get laid off, even if jobs uncertainty shows up, you're not worried. You're brave because you have enough savings. That's why Berkshire is sitting on 400 billions of cash, is because they know when the market changes and things are going to change, they're actually ready to go buy any business they want to. They can go invest in things that are actually going to grow, right? So hopefully that lesson number 3 hit for a lot of you. Now, part 4 is Charlie Munger's lesson, which I've talked about this before in the podcast here, which was inversion. Always invert. So instead of asking yourself, how do I get healthy? Ask yourself, how would I get unhealthy? Right? Invert the question, right? Instead of asking yourself, how do I get rich? Ask yourself, how do I go broke? Right? And then your brain is very, very good at coming up with a list of things, right? So for most working professionals, if you were to ask yourself, what would make me unhealthy? You'll probably come up with a list of like, I would just sit all day. I would just have poor sleep. I would stress eat. I would drink too often. I would drink plenty of sugar. I would have zero structure. I would not have a coach. I would not hire a trainer. I would not exercise. I wouldn't even know where to exercise or what to exercise. I wouldn't be strength training. I would just be winging it. I would be hanging out with unhealthy people. I would be eating fast foods every single day after work, at work, all of that, right? So the thing with inversion is that now that you have that list, just do the opposite of that list. And now you're getting the results that you want, right? So sometimes success isn't about doing more. It's about consistently avoiding the obvious mistakes. And you can apply the same thing to finances. You can apply the same things to your businesses, right? If your business is going well, instead of asking, how do I grow my business? Be like, how would I shrink my business? How would I kill my business? Make a list, right? I would definitely not market. I would definitely not be, looking over the sales data. I would definitely not be treating my customers well. I would definitely wouldn't have customer service. I would definitely be like, it's just like there's so many ways to kill your business, right? And then just do the opposite. So inversion is a really, really good thing to do. Part 5, which is the last lesson for today, which is protect your energy and focus, right? So this one hits me hard all weekend because the great operators, they always protect their attention. Attention is your biggest currency in 2026, right? So if your attention is across drama from your friends who are going through breakups all the time, and that's all you guys talk about is your attention is just going towards dramatic stuff that doesn't improve your life, then that's the quality of life you're going to get, right? So the great people out there that are very successful in life, they actually protect their attention, protect their energy, time, and mental clarity, right? And most people on the other side, they're often overstimulated, they're distracted, they're stressed, they're exhausted. And they wonder why. Why can't I lose weight, Mo? Why can't I make more money? Why can't I get fitter? Why can't I get healthier, right? Because the thing is, it all comes down to your mind. A distracted life creates distracted results. A distracted life creates distracted results. Versus on the other side, healthy systems, when you have healthy systems in place, it creates calm. It creates consistency. And that consistency creates the results. That was Warren Buffett's entire life. And you look at Berkshire Hathaway's entire scenario, that's what it was. They were able to create a calm environment, right, around them. They put calm people in place, calm and competent people in their team, right? When you have that, now those people who can also play long-term games, so you have calm, competent, and long-term game people that can play long-term games, you get exponentially better results in life because you're avoiding all the mistakes and you have really awesome, competent people in your corner. So at the end of the day, healthy systems isn't just about fitness. Healthy systems is about building a life that compounds, building a life when it comes to your faith, family, fitness, finances, and fun. Those are the 5 areas. If you knock those out and if you apply healthy systems to all of them, I promise you the quality of your life will improve dramatically. And if you prefer an Instagram version of this, follow me on Moegias, MoeghIAS. I created a 7-minute video where I go through the top 10 lessons I learned from that weekend, and we break it all down. That you can also go watch. So just shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll send you that video as well. But overall, I hope this resonates. If you guys want me to talk more about finances and other areas of your life, even faith, fun, I would love to. I just keep the focus on fitness just because a lot of fitness coaching is what we do. But overall, I hope this helps because you don't want to be that healthy person who has the rest of their life in shambles. I want you to be the healthy and fit person who is dialed in with their finances, dialed in with their family, dialed in having fun, and dialed in when it comes to their faith as well, as opposed to an empty life with a really strong body ends up, you're not going to get the most out of life. Okay. I would rather us just knock it out of the park in every single area of our life. So I hope this helps. Let me know if this resonated, and I look forward to seeing you in the near future. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Healthy Systems podcast. I really appreciate you for tuning in today. Now, here are 2 ways I can help you for free. One, you can join our free Facebook community by just going to this link, bit.ly/Titan Facebook group. Just type that into your browser and then answer 2 questions, and then we'll let you into our Facebook community where you'll meet other people, as well as we have a lot of free resources in terms of meal plans, workouts, all kinds of stuff in there. Second way I can help you for free is if you follow me on Instagram at Mo Gaius, MOE, as in George, H as in horse, I as in India, A as in apple, S as in Sam. Follow me there and then shoot me a message with the word Healthy Systems, and then I'll be sure to send you a free gift. Other than that, keep listening in, and I really appreciate you.